Who's this?
Hey, Sammy, it's Michael.
Michael. A rare non-Friday call from Michael from Florida.
It's not going to be nothing new happening down here as far as the crazy talk. It is interesting to see, though, that based on what happened yesterday, I guess I'm a little older than you, and I know your producers are good guys, and I like them a lot. They do a nice job when you're not in. I just want to preface my statements by saying that. But I don't think you guys have ever lived outside. I know you have, Sam, but you've never lived outside the eastern or western. You lived in L.A., right? And then you lived on the East Coast, but no place else, correct?
I mean, I've lived a little bit in San Francisco, but yeah, for the most part, just
so you're
the coast.
basically a bicoastal guy.
Right.
All right. Because of my old profession, I lived in other parts of the country, and I know that this kind of falls into a cliche, but there really is a different sensibility and perspective when it comes to what you guys were talking about, especially when it comes to cultural issues. And I love you guys, but I think sometimes, how do I say this? You almost have a 2-1-2 mentality. It's like you don't understand, and maybe you do because you talk to other people in other parts of the country, and I'm not trying to narrowcast you, but until you've actually experienced living and working in places like Michigan and Wisconsin and Virginia and other places like that, or Texas for that matter, I mean, it's a completely different way of appreciating what goes on, and it's difficult to try to understand why certain people feel the way they do.
Wait, no, but what are you talking about specifically?
Well, all right, for instance, the guy yesterday was obviously an idiot. He couldn't, articulate his way out of a paper bag. And you did a fine job of cross-examining him, Counselor. I was very proud of you. You did a nice job there. However, the point of view that he was trying, I think, inarticulately to represent was that there was a time in this country when, white males ruled the world. That's the way it was.
Yeah.
We called the shots. We did what we wanted. We slapped women on the ass if we felt like it. We called people the N-word if we felt like it. We excluded people from country clubs. We did what we wanted, and that was good. And they associate that with the most prosperous time in the country's history, that is, the post-World War II generation, from 46 to 64, or 63, really, until Kennedy got shot. I mean, that was the argument. So, I mean, the point is that era is automatically assumed to be consistent with that kind of behavior. So if we did those things and America was good then why are you people trying to change what was good then and what is bad now? Now, it's
all right. Now wait a second. Hold on. Let me respond to that. First off, the guy that was on yesterday was born in the late '80s.
Oh, I know. No,
right, and he's in D.C.
No,
he's in D.C.
That.
But yes, I agree. I mean, I agree. I am fully aware that the economic pressure that is felt by older white men and or the loss of their sort of like clear place atop the hierarchy, causes them stress. And it is a change for them. There's no doubt in my mind. Look, even a metrosexual type of guy like myself, is subject to the cross currents of changes in our culture, of course. And I think particularly,
right.
I'm no both Matt and Michael theoretically could be, I could have had them. As children above the age of consent. Let's put it that way.
47?
Yeah.
And 47, right?
I'm
a little bit older
disgusted
than you
every day
by
Sam
and
what he says.
And look,
no, I'm just kidding.
And certainly my parents' generation,
But you grew up. See, let me interrupt for a second. This is where the disconnect comes. As much as you may want to inculcate yourself with other people in San Francisco and Los Angeles in the entertainment industry, your parents were, I guess, progressively or liberal-minded at the time, okay? It's almost impossible for you to see world through the prism of what other folks do. See, I grew up in that kind of house, all right? You would never know it to meet my family, but they're good, decent people, but they have perspectives which are, off the charts in terms of where you and I would find compatible sensibilities.
Oh, well, dude, wait a sec. Look, I appreciate that. I understand.
And I'm not criticizing.
No, I know.
It's impossible to be able to understand that unless you've gone through it to a degree.
Well,
a degree.
I mean, to be fair,
all I'm saying.
also, I grew up in Worcester, and it wasn't like I was, I wasn't growing up in a sequestered part of the world. I mean, Worcester is a fairly blue collar city that has a real problem
Yes.
with outsiders, i.e., people who go to a rock concert. I mean, it's
Right.
but I do appreciate the fact that yes, I was not immersed in that culture, and I understand. I mean, I understand that, and at the end of the day, sadly, the answer is sorry. I mean,
No, I'm not justifying it. You're right. Look, you either grow or you mutate. I mean, that's just the way it goes, or you wither away, and that's true. But see, what Limbaugh figured out a long time ago, and you may have already known this, but maybe most of your audience doesn't. His background was that of a twice divorced, failed public relations guy who worked for the Kansas City Royals, who decided one day that he was going to reinvent himself after his wife threw him out of the house after his second divorce, and he was going to take up the mantle of the angry white guy. And I used to listen to him, believe it or not, on a regular basis for about 5 years before the impeachment of Clinton, and before the '94 elections. He was on in Virginia where I worked, and he was fairly popular. And you always kind of keep an eye on the loonies anyway.
Right.
But his whole shtick, and it was a shtick back then, was to just take the most ridiculously outrageous position and defend it from the position of being the white guy who was in charge of everything. Hey, you N-word, go clean that up, and come here, bitch, and have me another kid, and that kind of stuff. And it was so absurd. He was almost, I think Janine once referred to him as a performance artist.
Yes.
And she was right. But what happened was Clear Channel and Premier Radio Network showed up with 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure contracts for this guy, and all of a sudden he started to believe his own crap.
Oh,
and there's millions and millions of other people who go along with that disaffected view and are constantly barraged with this, this idea of what goes on. Now, when you and Cliff or you and Michael or you and Matt have intelligent discussions, it's wonderful and it's clear and it's fact-based. But it's not going to reach those guys because they live in a world that you just don't know about. Hell, I don't even know about it half the time.
Wait a second.
You're never going to reach them.
That's not my agenda. That's what I'm saying. That's not
just
my agenda. But
I know. So when a guy comes on the show yesterday and makes an ass of himself, now you know why, because that's what he's been influenced by his whole life.
Oh,
and
definitely.
There's millions of them out there.
No, I don't have that guy on the show to convince him. I have that guy on the show to use him in an example of what a retrograde perspective looks like. I have that guy on the show. The reason why I play Rush Limbaugh on this program is specifically for people like myself who say, nobody really believes that. That's why.
Oh, no, Michael, they do. Oh, yes, they do. Oh,
no.
Michael, you got to do yourself a favor.
No,
You're
I'm saying.
a brilliant kid.
Wait.
You got to go live in Dallas, Texas.
Michael.
I didn't say that. Sam said that. I totally know these people exist.
I'm saying the reason why I have people like that on this program is not to convince them, but to show other people that there are people who actually believe this stuff.
And can I just add?
Right. But be careful.
And can I just add real quick,
Don't
Michael?
point to them like they're animals in a zoo. Okay, you
And
can't.
to
Oh no! Yes. That's exactly my agenda. They are animals in the zoo, in my mind, in that respect. Because
you're never going to win the argument of the people in the middle by being dismissive of the people on the.
Oh no! That's where we disagree. That's where we disagree, because I can tell you, the people in the middle, the people in the middle, when they hear this guy say there is a silent majority of women out there who want to be ogled, the people in the middle go, wow, these people are insane in a way that I never knew. So that's what I dispute. That's why
I think yes, I agree. Except for one thing, the way you do it, you have to be careful on as to how you do it. Not that you do it at all, but how you do it. That's the one thing that I would be cautious of. Hey man, I thought it was hilarious. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying there's a lot of people who do not have yours or Cliff's or Michael's or Matt's sensibility. In fact, I'd venture to say most of the people who listen to you. Dude, I've been following you since Air America when I lived in L.A., okay? I followed you through when Lionel kicked you off and all that nonsense that went on, and I even watched you on Marin and got through all that other stuff. So, dude, I'm in your corner 1,000%. I think you know that. I'm one of the few people who can probably actually say that I go back to your Air America days. But my only concern is that when you have people of like minds on, and you don't do it all the time, there is a tendency to kind of smirk and kind of catcall them a little bit.
Yes.
When you can do what you need to do with a surgical scalpel instead of a meat cleaver. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I appreciate that perspective. I don't necessarily subscribe to it, but I appreciate it. I mean, I think, everybody's got a different role, and in different contexts, I think that's, I bring out a different tool.
Hey, look, sometimes you gotta come at these animals like in it. Look, remember the time I called you back when Matt Taibbi got on there with Martian and got annihilated by those two right-wing lunatics? I think I called you right afterwards, and you said, rightfully so, he is a great journalist, but he is not skilled in that kind of trench warfare debate. There are times you have to go after these people with a 2x4 and club them upside the head a couple of times.
Yep.
But there are other times that's not necessary. That's all I'm saying. That's all I've got.
All right, Michael.
Anyway, guys, if I don't talk to you, have a wonderful rest of the holiday season, and
you too.
Good luck on the new year. And we will be renewing, probably at a larger size. Who do I talk to about that, by the way? If I want to increase your membership.
Send an email at majorityreporters@gmail.com.
Consider it done. Have a good holiday, my friend.
Bye. All right, let's get to the IMs. Politics. Excellent interview yesterday in the premium half, a.k.a. Majority Report Platinum. I've been listening to the show since Saul was just an oogle in your eyes. That's our today's dollar anywhere. On Twitter, Phoenix Art. Don't scare people in the middle. Arguments are the last refuge of hand-wringers. The real truth is that the people in the middle will go along with whoever looks like they're winning. I think there's some truth to that, too.
I also think the other thing is that those particular attitudes that maybe had more currency in the 90s, I do think that that's a way in which broader culture really has become more socially liberal.
Definitely.
So I think it's exactly what Sam is saying. What you do is you come out and you have that kid, and then you're like, okay, so you heard all that. Now would you like to hear his proposals on taxes and regulations?
Right.
And you take that remotely seriously after listening to that? Hell no.
And I would say to Michael, let me put it back on him. Maybe Michael is just not hanging out with enough 25-year-olds to know that guy, when a 25-year-old or a 30-year-old or a 35-year-old hears a 22-year-old espouse that type of notion, they think no matter where they live in the country that guy is a frickin' nut job.
A tool or really disturbed.
Well, you wear mock turtlenecks, so come on.
I wear mock turtlenecks?
Yeah, you're wearing a mock turtleneck.
How dare you? I'm wearing a sweater. You. I have no recovery for that. I guess it's the only thing that's ever been said to me in this office that has just robbed me of words.